I'm Christy. Today I want to talk about figuring out the best living solution for your loved one. I talk about living options for our loved ones with special needs a lot here. Admittedly, part of that is because it's top of mind as I continue to work to find the best fit for AJ. But another big part of it is that the vast majority of families I've talked to who have a loved one with special needs assume and plan that their loved one must live with them or other family members for their entire lives. It appears to be a foregone conclusion to them. No other consideration is needed. And I find that really interesting. So let's take a few minutes and think through this scenario. On the one hand, living with family is an incredibly simple solution. It's what has always been. And I'm a firm believer in not fixing what ain't broke. So why should we consider any other alternatives? Living with family means that those who are living with and caring for our loved one know and understand their needs, quirks, and idiosyncrasies. They know or quickly learn what triggers are and how to recover once they are triggered. And we or they love our loved one. I think this becomes the default for many families because they don't see the need to consider any other alternatives. This works for everyone because it's the status quo. And no one thinks to question it, especially if your loved one with special needs is content. Again, if it ain't broke, why fix it? Alternatively, living apart from family requires significantly more effort to figure out. What is the best type of living situation for your loved one? Is that option available in your area? If not, how far away are you willing to move your loved one? Is there an option that you have never considered or thought of that is available in your area? And the list goes on. Here's a tough question to answer. How much could your loved one learn if they were to live apart from you? I suspect that the answer is a lot. Just as typical kids learn a lot of important life lessons when they move out from their parents' home, our loved ones with special needs will learn a lot of important life lessons if or when they live apart from us. I suspect in many cases the lessons they'll learn and the self-confidence gained from living away from family will likely be well worth the extra effort it takes to get them moved into a healthy living situation apart from us. I think the biggest issue when considering where our loved ones should live is this. What is our motivation for making the decision we're making? Are we looking for what's easiest for us? Then the simplest solution is to continue with them living with family. But that's not necessarily the easiest solution in the day-to-day living. Are we looking for what is best for our loved one? Then maybe we need to consider moving them somewhere else apart from us. Or are they opposed to leaving the family home? Then keeping them with family may be the better option. Finally, are we listening to what our loved one wants to do about their living situation? Just as we would for any other family member, we need to follow their lead when it comes to significant aspects of their life. So what do we do if we decide that our perspective isn't what or where we want it to be? The short, but not so simple answer is to change it. I'm a firm believer in making an informed decision. So do your homework. Research options in your area. If you're willing to consider moving your loved one out of your area, look into options in other areas. Talk to everyone involved. Gather as much information as possible. The biggest help will be keeping an open mind. It can be really hard to do though, especially if we're already fairly convinced that one particular option is indeed the best one. The final part here is to make a conscious decision. You've gathered all the information you can to make an informed decision, and you've considered what your loved one wants to do. Now, consciously make a decision and follow through with it. I say make a conscious decision because many times we make decisions by default or by not making a decision. We allow life to take over and before we know it, time has passed and the opportunity has passed us by. Or time has passed and things have remained the same. Instead, I'm challenging you and myself to stop, research, and then consciously make an informed decision. I'm not saying that you can't change your mind in the future, nor am I saying that you'll always make the right decision the first time. But making a conscious decision allows for fewer regrets because you know how, when, and why you made the choices you made. I realize that my bias on this particular topic is more than clear. I believe that many adults with special needs are more than capable of living apart from their families. No, I'm not saying they can live independently on their own, but they can live and thrive apart from their family, if we're willing to give them the opportunity to try. And if it doesn't work, there's always the option to bring them back home with or to us. Please just make sure that their desires are heard and considered and a conscious choice is made. So my question for you this week is this. Do you need to adjust your thoughts on where your loved one should live? I'd love to hear your thoughts. You can leave me a comment below, or you can leave me a comment over on the blog. That's at www.havenofhopeforme.com. This originally posted in June of 2022. If you prefer, you can always email me at Christy, CHRISTY, at havenofhopeforme.com. Confirming that I'm following all of these steps with AJ so that I can continue to say that life is good and there is never a dull moment.